eBay sellers, you have landed on episode 201 of eBay the Right Way. Today's date is January 22nd, 2025, and my guest today is Patti in Connecticut. No announcements this week, so we will go straight into the chat with Patti.
Hello, resellers. Welcome back. I have a repeat offender today, Patti, and I looked up the last time you were on was in April of 22.
It doesn't seem that long.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But you've been busy with your regular job, your eBay job, traveling, life in general. So, first of all, let's tell the listeners where you are.
I'm in Vernon, Connecticut, so we're about 20 minutes northeast of Hartford.
Okay. And maybe just recap what brought you to eBay and a little bit about your regular full-time job.
Yeah, so I started basically when eBay started in the late 90s. I'm on my second reseller, account, and I started my new one in 2003 after I got my first divorce and bought another house. But I really started back in the days where people were mailing you checks and you just kind of mailed things away on a wing and a prayer. But yeah, I always loved the platform. I just found that it's no holds bar. You can sell whatever you want, and so I've just kind of taken it and run with it over the years. My full-time job, I've worked at my job for 35 years. I'm a senior manager in a family-run chain of liquor stores. We circle Hartford. I personally run a 10,000 square foot store, and I
Wow.
also do most of the marketing. So I have another office in another location. So I'm busy. We work long days. I work 4 11-hour days, yeah, and then I do eBay on the side.
Wow, that's a busy life. Was there something in particular that made you start selling on eBay?
Yes. My ex-husband's mom died. She died pretty young. She died at an early age from cancer. And they were just kind of shocked and wondering what to do with all her stuff. And that's when I had heard about eBay. And she was a collector. She collected like just little trinkets, and she had a lot of Fenton and things like that, even before, I even knew what any of that was. But I was like, hey, let's try it. And things sold, very quickly. So it just kind of, gave me the impetus to just continue on.
So I bet you learned a lot selling her items.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you make mistakes, what not to do, how not to ship, do the box in a box and, all that stuff, especially with glassware. So I kind
Mhm.
of learned early on, kind of the hard way and how to ship and how not to ship.
Okay, I'm playing I Spy with your background. Are those like Delft tiles?
In the back, that is actual, it's their little drawers, and it's from Holland. We have really good friends that live in Holland. So they gifted to me. It's like little, I don't know, apothecary cabinet. And
Yeah, it's like a
yeah,
tiny little chest of drawers, but
yep,
I noticed the blue and white tiles.
yep.
So yeah, that's definitely a bolo. And
Oh yeah,
what's
uh,
that camper thing on the bottom shelf?
oh, that's a birdhouse.
Oh, it is? Okay. Yeah, now people are going to be scared to come on this podcast. She's going to be looking at my background. Well, you can always blur your background on Zoom
I
if you
know, and you
want to
didn't mention
share.
the life size Raggedy Ann that's sitting next to me.
Yeah, is that for sale?
No, that's just my childhood doll, and she has the seat of honor in my room here.
She's your very quiet coworker.
Yeah, exactly. She scares the grandkids.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah, it is definitely what she's probably three feet tall.
Yes, yep.
Raggedy
Yeah,
Ann.
big one.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I'm gonna say. Your background is very neat and tidy.
Thank you.
Okay, well, you post on the group frequently. Do you want to talk about some things you sold or maybe even how your business has changed over the last 3 years or
Sure. Yeah, I actually have a couple of consignment customers that I work with. I just started doing, well, I actually started doing consignment, pretty much during the first couple of years of eBay. And I know there's a lot of problems and, negatives to go with consignment selling, but I've always been very upfront with people about what they have and what things are worth and the expectations that they should have. And so people always have really have come to me over the years. And I stumbled upon one consignment customer that I've been working with now for almost 4 years. She had an estate. Her mom had passed. Her mom was a collector. Her parents had money from their parents, and they were teachers, so they were just able to just kind of amass a huge collection. And the first thing that I tackled from her was a whole closet full of ephemera. It was movie memorabilia, movie posters, lobby cards, just you name it. If it had to do with something to do with an actor or a movie, she collected it. And I kind of went into it with well, we'll see what happens. And what happened was we were really successful selling most of our stuff from that closet. And then she came back to me 2 years later with another big lot of things. And these were even higher end items. They were mostly autographs. So I've sold over the last 2 years just numerous autographs, like Ruth Ginsburg,
Oh,
Charlie Chaplin, Frank Sinatra, Vincent Price, like just, I mean, I would say at least 50 autographs from her collection over the years. And yeah, so that's been very lucrative and very successful. And I
do you
probably
have those authenticated?
no.
Well, that's, a seller's choice, really. I just was curious if you did. I sold that autograph book a few years ago. I didn't have any of them authenticated.
Yeah, I've always been very upfront in my listing that it's not authenticated. And I've also privately told people that if it comes back and they authenticate it and it comes back fake, that I would refund the money. And I've done that 3 times over the 2 years. Something has
Hmm.
come back unauthenticated. But the cost of authentication is crazy. It's
Hmm.
so expensive. And my consignment customer wasn't interested in putting the money out, and I really wasn't interested in it since I didn't really have any money put into it. So I just kind of went with that.
I think it's more important with hard goods like handbags and sunglasses that are frequently faked. You don't want to sell a fake, but autographs, that's a different situation. How many fake Charlie Chapman autographs are out there?
Yeah, I guess there are some. I also kind of question a little bit the authentication process because I think that's subjective as well. Um, I
Yeah.
I had one autograph. It was Salvador Dali.
Oh.
I had some provenance from the estate of where the woman had gotten the autographs, and I sold 3 autographs that were fine, and then one came back where the authentication said that it was fake. It was from JSA, and they basically said that the slope was wrong. The way I read the whole thing, and I'm just thinking to myself, well, Salvador Dali was a drunk, and he probably signed this when he was drunk.
Yeah,
So,
what's that famous piece with the stopwatches melting the clock?
yeah,
That Salvador Dali artwork is called The Persistence of Time. But yeah, I was like, you got to wonder what was he drinking or smoking when he did that?
yeah, exactly.
Well, that's interesting that you actually had his autograph pass through your hands.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of cool, just the amount of history, that some of these things have.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I've been working with her and then now she's just given me a whole lot of like high-end costume jewelry. So that'll be fun to go through. I also on my own have sold like a lot of costume jewelry. I bought a couple of bulk lots and auctions and things like that. And it's
Okay.
I like doing that. It's fun. They're small, they're easy to ship. Um, you know, it's kind of just a, not that, what's the word? Just it's just fun things to home to new people. Um,
Hmm.
always like a discovery, ooh, is this really gold? Like that kind of stuff.
Okay. So you have two consignment clients still?
Yep. So the other one is an actual family member. My first cousin, who's my was my age, died a year and a half ago of pancreatic
Oh,
cancer. Yeah, it was sudden. But he was a collector of in the '90s, like comic books, Star Trek, Star Wars, all the kind of pop culture stuff that went along with that. And I mean, I'm talking obsessed collector. I mean, he had every single Playmates toy that came out of Star Trek, every single figure, bins and bins and bins and bins and bins of comic books and records, vinyl records. So his wife had tried a couple of times. She had people come in and look at the collection, and she wasn't really happy with the offers. And so she just said, "Hey, why don't we just sell it together?" So I've been working on all that as well. Comic
and
books
how's
are
that
hard.
going? Are comic books kind of tedious?
They're very tedious and it's time consuming because there's so many little intricacies that you don't even think of. It's like, oh, this comic book has like two variant covers and one variant cover is worth more than the other variant cover. And so it's you kind of have to like look up almost every single one to see, if one's worth a little bit more than the other. So I've been doing that. I've also been doing a lot of lots, and the lots have been selling. I think I
Yeah,
pulled.
that seems like for time efficiency the way to go, because if a
Yeah,
collector sees something in there that's valuable, they're gonna pay for it. Are you doing auctions or fixed price?
fixed price. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really do
Okay.
too many auctions. I've just found for myself, it's just easier to figure out a price, put the price on it. I always put it a little bit higher than I want and accept offers. And that seems to
Right.
be
And I
working.
feel like comic books are like stamps and coins that have to be graded, and there's so many little details that you might not know if you're not a collector. Like,
Correct.
if the staples halfway coming out, or just whatever the intricacies are on comic books, has the cover been folded or not, like collectible Barbie dolls that are in the box, if there's any damage to the box, or if it's been opened or factory sealed, or what's the deal with it. It's very detail oriented, and I feel like you have to learn all that so you can talk about it in your listing, and it may not be of great interest to everyone selling comic books.
No, his are all what they say, bagged and boarded. So they're all in like little bags with a little cardboard
Okay.
backing on it. And when I started, I was taking everything out of the bag and then just taking the picture from all angles. And then I just realized that like he basically never read any of these things. He bought them and put them in the bag, and so they're all in really, really good condition. So now I kind of stopped taking them out of the bag just because it's just very time consuming.
Mhm.
I haven't had anybody complain yet, so which is good.
Yeah, I think you're on the right track there, because especially if it's a new product, you don't know how much to show. And then they start selling, you're like, well, maybe I can pull back a little bit on the photography side of this.
Yeah, I mean, I always go down the rabbit hole in the beginning. You just kind of overdo it, and then, as you said, just you're right. As things start to sell, pull back a little bit.
Right. Okay, well, that's definitely an interesting product line. I don't know if I've had anybody on the podcast talking about comic books like in great detail. They are a comic book seller.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Once these are gone, I won't be a comic book.
Okay, well, I want to bring this up because these were in one of my books. My BOLO books were some of the limited edition liquor bottles.
Oh yes.
There's one that has like skulls on it and skeletons, and um, do you sell those kind in your liquor store? And have you ever bought any just to resell the bottle?
Well, yeah, we had actually talked about that on our first part
Oh,
podcast.
we did?
I was like, yeah,
See?
I was like, oh, this is all trash to cash. It's like all like, you know,
Well, we are having, or I am having a senior moment, but maybe the listeners didn't go back that far because a lot of people just find this podcast and go forward and they don't go all the way back. So let's just have that discussion again and see if anything has changed.
yeah. So, in my business, you were talking about the skull bottle. That's a tequila bottle.
Right.
There's also a lot of bourbon bottles that are extremely well sought after. Blanton's bourbon is one of them. That's the one with the little horse on the top. And people collect the bottles. They can spell Blanton's because each horse has a different letter on it. Um,
Hmm.
and they're very these bottles are very allocated. You don't. I would say we only get in our store maybe 6 bottles of Blanton's a year to sell. And then the next level up from that is Pappy Van Winkle. That's another bourbon brand where those bottles are going for crazy money. So I'll tell you a quick funny story, kind of an aha moment. It was last maybe February or March. I was in my office, which is upstairs from one of our retail stores, and it was late. It was like 7 o'clock. There was nobody in the office, and it's kind of like an echoey, just a really nice, just kind of a spooky place to be in at night. And I'm in my office and I'm listening, not listening. I'm working. I'm working on my actual work, and it's about 7 o'clock, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna like kind of close up shop. And I just was thinking about eBay. I was listening to your podcast actually, and I turn around, and in the corner, I see two just plain boxes with a stamp on it, Pappy Van Winkle. So they're basically like a 3-pack box from the distillery that had the bottles in it. So they weren't fancy or anything. They were just something that the distillery put the bottles in and shipped it up to the distributor who shipped it to our store. Hmm. So I look them up, and sure enough, they were worth like $50. So
Wow.
I took a picture right then and there. I listed it right then and there, and it sold within, I would say, a week. I shipped an empty Pappy Van Winkle 3-pack box for 45 plus shipping to California.
Okay. You said box. You mean bottle?
No
The whole
box.
box.
Just the plain cardboard 3-pack box that the
Oh,
box
just the
came in.
box.
It was just the
Okay.
box, and it was just, I mean, literally, like, it was plain. It was just white, and it just had the stamp from the distillery and, the code of what bottles were in the box, and that was it. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
definitely trash to cash. Look at you. If they could all be that simple.
Yeah, exactly. And then in my business, so we get around the holidays, we get these gift packs with, little tchotchkes, either glass or something else in it. Sometimes it's a flask or, it's all branded with whatever the bottle in the box is. And they don't really fit on the shelf that well. So in the Christmas season, we'll have a separate spot for them, and then after Christmas, first of all the consumers think that they're paying more because they're getting the glass, and so that's kind of problematic. So we just split them up. We just take the glass out, and I usually have this huge cart that I put in the front of the store, and it says glasses 99 cents. Sell them on eBay.
Oh, really? All you people that like to sell glass, here you go.
But I sold some of that, those items myself. There was a tequila, oh, Casamigos tequila. That's George Clooney's brand or ex brand.
Okay.
And they came with a little like salt rimmer. It was a ceramic salt rimmer with a lid for free. I broke up those. I took maybe about 5 or 6 of them home. I put them up for like $15 a piece, and some guy bought 7 of them. So over it was like almost $100 for something that was free for me. So
I love it. Well,
yeah.
since you're the manager, nobody can say anything, right?
Well, I would do the same for anybody that wanted it. I mean, it was funny. One of my employees, I'd come up with a tin sign one day. And I just, it was a beer sign, and I was showing it to all the staff. And hey, anybody wants this sign? I'm throwing it out, and then somebody says, "Why don't you sell it on eBay?" So I said, "Okay." I put it on eBay. I think I got like 25 or $30 for it. I said, I'll buy pizza for everybody. So that's what I
There
did.
you go. Hey, good for
Mhm.
you. Sharing the joy.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any other memorable sales, like maybe that didn't come out of your liquor store?
Yeah, so I really am lucky in this area. We have a lot of just like good thrift stores. There's a lot of flea markets, estate sales, people who live here, generally have lived here their whole lives and their parents lived here. And so, when people are cleaning out their houses, it's generally like a lot of mid-century things and everybody's not into eBay. So sometimes it's just, let's just get rid of this stuff type of a thing.
Right.
But there was one store it was like a clean out company, and they had this big warehouse that they were opening up to the public on the weekends. And one of my friends found it, and we discovered it together. We went probably about 2 or 3 weekends, and it was a treasure trove. I mean, just tons and tons and tons of stuff. But anyway, I was looking one day, and it was, I think, due to you, because I'm not big into like the plush or the stuffed animals, but I looked down and there is a little, I think it was a little bear, and it was like dressed in like a clown suit, and it had like all the, I think it
I
had
just
polka
saw
dots on
that
it.
one. Yes, yes, the Eden plush
Yep,
clown bear, and it was it the primary colors?
yep, and
Yep, I just sold that one for like $80 a couple months ago, and I couldn't believe
yeah,
I found it.
mine went
Yep,
for like $100. I was like, and I think I got it for like 75 cents or something like that. I was
right. Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, that
like,
Eden plush is in one of my books. I think it's the pastel bear sells for a little more, but still, anything Eden plush is going to be old.
yeah, all I could hear is in my mind, visual clues, visual clues.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm so glad you found that.
Yeah, what else?
So wait, that didn't get you hooked on plush, just finding that one?
I just, you know what? It's just some things your eyes just kind of glaze over. When I see plush, it's just like they all look the same to me. I can't really distinguish. Um, I never had children, so that's probably why. It's just I
Well,
never.
unless it's that 4 foot long Simba from the Lion King.
Yeah.
He's pretty easy to spot. I look for him all the time, and one of these days I'm going to find him. But yeah, he sells for like $400.
Mm,
But you gotta ship it.
yeah.
That's okay for $400. I'll Frankenbox him and send him on his way.
Yeah, I mean, I've shipped a lot of those big blow molds.
Yeah.
I had gotten it was a couple of years ago now. If I do auctions, online auctions, I usually do like big lots. I'll pick through the lot and take what I want from it. But anyway, I got like almost a full truckload of Christmas items. It was like it's this big seller lot in an auction that was a couple towns over from me, and there was like two, like one of those like 4 foot, 4.5 foot size blow molds. I think there was a snowman and maybe Mrs. Claus was one of them. And yeah, I sold both of them and I shipped them. I didn't put them in a box. I just wrapped them in like this really thick bubble wrap. And then I put one of those like big industrial size black plastic trash bags over them and
Mhm.
taped it, pretty well. And then just shipped it UPS. And both of them got there safe and sound. They were nice and light, and it really wasn't that much of a hassle to ship.
Yeah, they can be big, but they are lightweight.
Hmm.
And
So
you remember how much you sold those for?
it was like in 100, something like that.
Good for you.
Yeah, good prices. Yeah, that same lot that I got. I mean, I just kind of put stuff aside because some things she had like these big huge boxes full of like tabletop, like kind of like Christmas tchotchke type things. Limax, I think, was one of them. There was like a big carousel, and the carousel had people in it, and it just kind of went round and round and had a musical thing. But it was, I don't know, the box was probably like 2.5 feet by 3 feet, and it was breakable. So I kind of put it aside. I'm like, I'll do it eventually. And I did. I sold it this year and it sold for like 85 or $90. So
Good.
yeah. My husband that has a friend that has an automotive repair shop, and so I get most of my bubble wrap from them because they get like all the automotive parts wrapped up, and she just puts it all aside for me. So nice
Nice.
free bubble wrap.
I have a next door neighbor who also has an online business and she does like candles. And so she has some good boxes and packing material that her supplies come in, but she ships it out in something different. So some days I just open my door and there's all these boxes and these funky, um, it's like this honeycomb cardboard stuff
Hmm.
that is great for packing breakables because you just line the sides of the box with that and put your thing in the middle. And yeah, I reuse all kinds of stuff. My neighbors know what I do and they're like, well, you want this? Do you want that? I'll take your Amazon bubble mailers. I'll take your Amazon boxes. I'll take non-food boxes, and it's good to have that coming to you and not having to seek it out. I haven't bought a box in years.
Yeah, I'm lucky. My work has a Uline account, and because
Oh.
we do shipping, we do alcohol shipping, and so I can buy boxes through that account and have them free shipped. So
Hmm.
Uline boxes are great boxes. They're economical boxes if you don't have to pay for the shipping. So that kind of works.
Right. Good point. Okay. Now, how many items do you have listed on eBay?
Right now, I think about 1,400.
So you have a store.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, not everybody has a store. Okay. And what is your area of specialty, if you
Um,
have?
Well, it varies. Right now, I have a lot of vintage jewelry. I've always loved vintage Christmas. That's kind of like my, if I'm at a tag sale, garage sale, or even thrift store, I kind of beeline to that. So that's things that I like to sell. I also do a lot of like vintage linens, tablecloths, napkins, things like that. Yeah. So what else? Oh, I do like vintage books. I dabble in that quite a bit. As a matter of fact, one, and I want to say I might have seen somebody else either on the group or maybe yourself had mentioned, but I found them in Goodwill. They just kind of stood out to me because they were older, probably 50s, maybe 60s. You could just tell by the spine. But I picked them up and they were cosmetology books for dead people.
Oh, like a mortician's guide,
Morticians.
makeup on the corpse. Yeah.
I was with a friend of mine who also sells on eBay. She's like, "You always find the good stuff." But
That's definitely unusual. Yeah.
I sold both of those for over $100. It was,
Very good.
yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I was bidding on an online auction last week, and one of the items was Andy Warhol's college yearbook.
Oh, cool.
I don't know what year it was from, but I looked it up and it's online in two places for $1,200.
Wow.
So the bidding kept going up and I bailed out. It got to like 150 and I bailed out because you just don't know how long it's going to take for something like that to sell. And I could have flipped it maybe for a lower price, but I don't know. That was kind of the most unusual thing I'd ever seen as far as books that's a collectible, but it was on like A Books and maybe Amazon. And both
Yeah,
places had it for 1,200.
yeah, you have to totally wait for the right buyer for that for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, for myself at this point in time, because I mean, I'm planning on probably retiring from my day job in 2 to 3 years and then kind of transitioning into eBay more full time. My husband holds the health insurance, so I don't really have to worry about that.
Oh, he does.
Yes. And he's a couple
Okay.
years younger.
He does what?
And he's a couple years younger, so
Okay.
so he's going to continue to work, and I'm going to work, but I'm just not going to work in retail anymore. So
Yeah, it's very draining. Well, and we're the same age, so in 4 short years, you can start getting Social Security if you want.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Isn't
know
that crazy?
people look at that differently. They're like, no, you should wait as long as you can. And I'm like, nah, maybe I'll just get it as soon as I can get it because you don't even know if you're going to make it, how far you're going to make it. Like you may not
Yeah.
make it to that age where you're projecting you're going to start taking it. Or there's all these different calculators, like how much money you're forfeiting if you don't take it right away.
Well, the way I look at it is I'm a hustler and I'm always going to do something on the side. So
Me
also
too.
the other thing that we do, my husband and I do, is I have 1,000 square foot garden. We have 26 raised beds, and I also sell plants in the springtime. So we have a
Oh,
10 by 12 greenhouse, and I have a self-service farm stand on the property that we run from May to like September or October. So, I mean, that brings in some good cash too. So on top of eBay, really,
you're
yeah.
just a Martha Stewart clone with all your side projects, except I don't know if I can see Martha working in a liquor store.
No.
You know, I don't know. She teamed up with Snoop Dogg, so she's kind of open to anything, I guess. Did you see the Christmas thing? It's Martha on the mantle and then Snoop on the stoop. It's like, the alternatives for Elf on a Shelf. Martha on the mantle.
Uh,
Well,
I
you're up
actually,
there in Martha Stewart country.
yeah, yeah. She lives in Connecticut.
That's right. Do you
Yeah,
know where her house is?
in the wealthy part of the state.
Have you ever like driven by her house? No, no need to do that.
No need.
Yeah, but she keeps reinventing herself.
Yeah, she's also a hustler for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Did you see the special about her on, I guess it was Netflix?
No.
Do you have Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know what it's called. There's an old movie with Sybil Shepherd playing her. It's not that, it's something recently released, and it just chronicles her life. And she did not have it easy. Everybody thinks, oh, she's a billionaire. She's had it so easy. No, she's been bankrupt a couple times and all that business going to prison. And like, I feel bad when I watch that because I'm like, oh, I could have been like her if I just worked harder. And then I'm like, no, I don't want to do prison. You can't have wine in prison.
So true.
So anyway, I got off the topic there, but yeah, you're a hustler. So you sell the plants and produce.
Produce, plants. I also do a lot of like jams, jellies, canning. The Connecticut's got a really liberal. I forget what the law is called, but we're able to sell pretty much anything that you make at home on the side of the road, as long as you label it saying that it's not made in a commercial kitchen. So
Oh,
all the jams and the jellies and the pickles and things like that.
that's wonderful.
Yeah. And so I put a little Facebook page together for the farm stand. I'll post every day what I'm putting on it, and I got a little following, so that's kind of
Oh, I'd
cool.
love to follow that just to see. Maybe I'll be like, hey, can I buy some of that blueberry jam?
Blueberry jam. We even have blueberries on the property.
Oh, my favorite. Yeah, I love those. Oh, that's wonderful. I didn't know you had all these side jobs.
Yeah. So yeah, life is busy, but in a good way for sure.
Well, and I think our generation our retirement's going to look different than our parents definitely. But I'm like you thinking I'm always going to do reselling.
Hmm.
It may change what I do and where I get it and all of that, but it wouldn't be bad to have that little social security extra coming in too, on top of my reselling and other online ventures, because I don't want to sit around and do nothing.
Yeah, it's Social Security is just a little cushion,
Yeah,
and everything else that you do is just a little gravy. So
maybe take a couple of trips, a couple of sourcing trips in a nice RV or tricked out van.
oh,
I
absolutely.
drive for a week and just hit some places. And I'm addicted to those videos about the vans and um, buses and all these things they've converted to a home. And it's just amazing what can be done. It's like, oh, a family of 8 lives in here, and here's how they sleep. And they've really used the space wisely. I just love watching them to see what's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And
There's got to be some you can rent for a road trip.
yeah, and just traveling just to see new stuff. I mean, my husband and I really like to travel. So that would be something else, I want to do in retirement. It's just, we've done a lot of European travel and I just want to explore more of the US, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
now
absolutely.
we only have a week of vacation and so we're flying everywhere. We're not really driving, but it'd just be nice just to take the meandering way.
Absolutely. And I love that method. I will fly. I'm not afraid of it or anything like that. It's just I prefer driving because you can stop whenever you want. If something interests you, you can stop and stay there a few days. You can change your route. You can, um, if it's like an RV or something, you don't have to get a hotel. You can just park and sleep and regroup and then hit the road again. So that really appeals to me because it's not paced. I've been on vacation with people where every second of my day is planned. And we're gonna do this activity and that. We're gonna go here and do this restaurant. And I'm exhausted. It's
Yeah,
not
at the
it's
end, you
not
need a
relaxing.
exactly, you need vacation from vacation.
Like I don't want an agenda. I just want to bring my stuff, have a comfortable vehicle, and just see where we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I have to train my husband better because, we'll be on a road trip and I'll say, "Hey, there's a tag sale."
Oh, right.
And then he says, "Do you want me to turn around?"
And what do
Yeah.
you say? It's not too much trouble. Sure. So yeah, down in the South, we have the Highway 27 sale that goes through Tennessee and some other states. I've been there. And do you have those up there that is on your to-do list, your bucket
We do
list?
we do a lot, in this area, we have a lot of, like, town-wide sales. So, like, my town always has a town-wide tag sale, the town, next door, sometimes there's a county one, and then I'm very close to Brimfield. I'm not sure if you've heard of that, but that's a huge, like, antiques collectible show
Okay.
3 times a year, and I mean, literally, like, 7 fields of dealers. I mean, it's huge. So that's kind of fun to go to. More so also just to see the trends because it's a lot of retail, you have real true antique dealers setting up there and things like that.
Mhm.
But it's just kind of neat to see, kind of what's hot, what's the new and latest thing that's kind of in the old antique world.
Right. Yeah. What the millennials are
Hmm.
decorating with. And I can't keep up with all that TikTok stuff of, somebody will have something in their video and then all of a sudden all their followers want it.
Hmm.
It could be just, a Tiffany lamp or their grandmother's fringe boots from the 70s or whatever it is. And that really creates trends when they're called influencers, but I mean, I think we need a better name because I don't know how much they really influence. But
True.
they'll do these things like the Linux spice jars
Yeah.
became so popular again. Somebody had that on their TikTok and those went crazy and those can sell for over 200.
Yeah. I mean, I probably wouldn't buy anything, based on a trend unless it's like super cheap. But it's just nice to know the trends just to keep your eye open, number one, and also to know if you need to like take one of your listings and maybe kind of rework it with different keywords, to
Like
cap
Coastal Grandma.
right.
You've heard of that one?
Yeah.
It's anything that Diane Keaton would wear in a beach movie.
Hmm.
All that long, flowy linen, big floppy hats, the sunglasses, and it's still a thing. I still see it on listings. Coastal Grandma. Oh, and the decor is all of the grandma beach house type things. And um, I just think it's hilarious how these things get named. I think
Right.
Catherine and I talked about this on a podcast a while back. Just the names of the trends are so crazy.
Grandma core.
Yeah, grandma core, cottage core, all that stuff. Yeah. So, um, I asked you if you specialize in anything. Did you answer that?
Yeah, I mean, I really specialize in something that I can pick up cheap and then sell for a profit.
Okay. I didn't think you said a specific item. You just were kind of, I don't know, we got distracted talking about something
Yeah,
else.
I mean, at vintage Christmas, I do a lot of jewelry. I'm also selling a lot of vinyl right now,
Oh,
um,
really?
records. Those actually are doing really well for me. I mean, they're not, you're not making crazy money, but it's a steady 10 to 15 to sometimes even 30 or $40 for an album. And if you can get them cheap enough, I actually have picked up boxes on the side of the road on occasion, and you have to be careful about the condition. But
Mm-hmm.
if they're well cared for, it's kind of a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. Just get yourself a little record mailer. When you're mailing them out, make sure you're, cushion them okay.
Yeah, and that's evolved over the years because back in the day, people used to ship them in unused pizza boxes.
Yeah.
And so now they have actual mailers for that, which is
Record
great.
mailers.
Yeah. Okay. And wow, 1,400 items. Do you have a basement or where's
I have a
everything?
basement. Hmm.
Okay.
It's like one of those like creepy Connecticut basements with the rack walls and lots of spiders.
Yeah, I saw one of those when I was in Illinois, and the house I was in had two basements, like because it was a very old house built in the 40s, and then they added on around that house. So it was weird. But the old basement was, yeah, it was like the cellar on the movie The Goonies with that
Hmm.
guy, what's his name?
Mm.
That monster looking guy locked in the basement, and it was, yeah, the rock walls, and it was very damp, and I just knew there was going to be a dead body down there. I was going to see a skull or a hand or something.
I'm not worried about anybody robbing my basement because it would probably freak most people out. I mean, it's got a regular cement floor, but
Uh-huh.
it's got all the other ticks the other boxes of being really creepy. My house,
Well, if you have the space, might as well
yeah,
use it.
my house was built in 1890, so
You are kidding.
no, it's an older house. Yeah, and it's a
So is that a
farmhouse, so like nobody had the person who made it didn't have any money, so we've taken apart walls, and it's literally like trees. You can just
oh,
mark on the trees for the 2x4s and things like that.
what did I see? A video about somebody taking their house apart like that, taking down a wall, and they found a Christmas present that had fallen, somehow it had fallen from the attic down between the 2x4s or whatever, and it was wedged in there. And it was the person, it was the same family, but it was the younger generation living there. And this man is like, yeah, this was a Christmas present to me in 1972 or something.
Oh, that's cool.
And he opens it on the video, and it's some old game or something. He's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. And I'm like, well, duh, you're gonna sell it. What, you have to think about this? So I thought you were gonna say something like that. You find, hidden treasures and Revolutionary War stuff and all
We
that.
found we found in the garden area there must have been a barn at one point in time because we've definitely found like old hinges and like horseshoes and things like that. But nothing like that, we're gonna make $1 million on yet. Still
Just
waiting for that bag of money.
yeah, that might show up. I have a friend, whenever her husband goes to the store, he's like, can I bring you anything? And she's like, yeah, a bag of 20s. Yeah. Okay. Well, this has been just an enjoyable chat, totally off topic on a lot of things, but that's okay. We're humans too. We have lives. Um, so what do you see your eBay business doing in the future? Just status quo, keep building it?
Yeah, so I think in the next 2 years, I'm probably going to do like a hard look at some of my older items. I mean, I basically, yeah, I've been reworking listings and, but I just did another 20 of older items, and I just was saying to myself, you know what? these haven't sold in 4 years. They're probably not going to sell, So I'm probably going to just do some inventory, pare down what I have, maybe do some tag sales this summer,
Mhm.
and then just build stuff up again. I really want to concentrate on more ephemera and smalls. I like those, easy to ship. I just bought actually bought 2 or 3 boxes on an online auction of ephemera that I need to go through. But one of them was this really nice big, what is it called? It's just like an album where they do like cuttings and things like that of like old ads, scrapbook. So like a scrapbook from 1922, filled, and that looks like it's going to be worth a couple $100.
That'd be fascinating to look at.
Yeah. So just kind of like move on to other areas, and
Maybe you should put a eBay dead stock box out by your produce on the side of the road and just put prices on stuff, see if you can get anything for it.
myself in my farm stand that that I
That's
do.
what I mean. Yeah, your produce stand. That's what we call it in the South, a produce stand. Right. And just, I don't know, before you give up on it completely, just
Tag
incorporate
sale.
it, piggyback on something you're already doing.
Mhm. Yeah, I usually do like 1 or 2 tag sales a year too.
Okay.
And, I actually had a YouTuber come to my last tag sale. It was kind of fun.
Really? Who was that?
His name was Patrick the Picker. I looked him up. He had a channel, but nobody that I recognized. But he had the camera and the whole 9 yards.
Did he ask you if he could film it?
He did, yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That's
Yeah.
good protocol. Okay. And you're like, oh, my sale's gonna be famous.
Yeah, and it's like, well, this has all been picked through by me.
I have to look
You're
that
welcome
up.
to it.
That's funny. Hey, you're famous on all different mediums, on podcast, on YouTube. You got it going. Okay, well, and you're off from your regular job this week. So are you eBaying or are you just going with the
eBay.
flow?
Nope,
Yeah.
I'm eBaying pretty much every day. I'm attacking some piles of things that I've kind of neglected. And actually, Sunday I just went through and I said I'm going to do all the I'm going to get to it later stuff. So I had a whole pile of I'll get to it later, I'll get to it later, I'll get to it later. So I did 22 drafts of the get to it later things.
Very good. Yeah, I call those later days. Yeah, today I'm going to do all that stuff I've been saving for later. And then you get it done, and regardless of what it is, you feel accomplished because
Exactly.
it's off your list.
Yep. It's not
Right.
out of the house, but it's getting closer.
Right. Right. At least you worked on it. Okay, well that's being an industrious hustler. Okay, well thanks again for coming on and sharing all your wisdom, and stay warm up there.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, have a good day.
You too. Bye.
And now on to parting words. Something appropriate since we are in a new year, and for some people, a time to create new and positive habits. This graphic was circulating around social media, and I really like the reality of how small daily habits add up. So, what it says is walking 10,000 steps a day equals 69 marathons per year. Waking up just 30 minutes earlier is 10,950 extra minutes to get things done. That's the same as 182 and a half hours or 7 whole days to get things done. 30 minutes of exercise a day is 182 hours of strength and stamina building. Reading 10 pages per day adds up to over 12 books per year. 5 minutes of gratitude journaling, 1,825 minutes you can be thankful for your life. And 1 hour of studying a day is 365 hours dedicated to bettering yourself. And what if you put that studying towards learning more about eBay and what to sell? You're educating yourself every single day to be a better seller. So I just liked that graphic. It puts us on a positive path in the new year. Next week, my guest is Barbara, who is a frequent poster on the Money Making Mondays. She is a baby boomer doing eBay during retirement. So we will hear all about her eBay journey and lifestyle, which I'm sure many of you can relate to, as some of you are already retired or planning for an eBay business during that chapter of your life. Thanks so much for listening and have a profitable and productive week on eBay. Bye, everybody.